Today's game serves up a free reflex test, some motivated music, and a small sprinkle of strategy. If that's your bag, then hop in and I'll show you round the blocks. SpeedRacer is a retro runner game made in Unity engine by Anthund, who I believe is a solo developer. It's a simple game with a quick load time, concise menu and only 2 controls, move left and right, and shoot. The game supports 11 languages, but to be honest you don't need many of them because during gameplay all you need is your brain engaged and some quick reflexes. The aim of the game, I thought, was to survive as long as possible because I didn't read the Steam page, but it turns out that you've only got to survive 3 minutes and 40 seconds. Easy, right? Wrong. The only obstacle to dodge is blocks, and there are 3 styles of segments, including blocks with channels, scattered blocks, and no blocks at all. There are 2 methods used to raise difficulty: increased running speed and taller and wider blocks. There are 1 and kind of a half methods to counter the difficulty raise: bullets to damage the blocks, and the control sensitivity, or in this menu, sensibility. Yes, I am being a grammar Nazi again. Very simple facets, and the order makes a big difference to how this game could be experienced. In my opinion, it's managed very well to make it challenging but also give the player a fighting chance to succeed. The segments are in the same order each time, but the block positions change within them. You get scatter, channel, channel, channel again, scatter, empty, then scatter, with block size and speed increasing over time. The bullets are collected during the level, and they offer you essentially a playstyle choice. You get more points at the end the more bullets you have remaining, and those points obviously decide your leaderboard position. So your ideal performance is to dodge without using bullets, but they're there to save you from hitting a wall and ending the run. However, because they're between the blocks, at the beginning you get rewarded for taking more risk, which stops it being as boring when it's slow, but risks you ending your run earlier. With the channels, you get rewarded for accuracy, because they're often positioned bang in the middle of a gap, so you're encouraged to be more agile. This is where the sensitivity slider comes into play. The normal level is pretty twitchy, especially to begin with, but the faster you go, the twitchier you need to be, and you can't change sensitivity in the middle of the run, so you have to make the decision early on. You can go lower motion, which makes you more accurate when aiming for gaps, and in the beginning when it's slow stops you twitching into an obstacle too early, but in the later stages when you're fast, you're less likely to be able to dart out the way, especially with really tall blocks hiding other obstacles behind them potentially, and you may need to rely on bullets more. But if you go really twitchy, there's a chance you'll struggle to make it past the first scatter segment or the next channels because you can't line up the accuracy. It's almost like you have to choose between the difficulty being higher earlier or later in the run dependent on the controls. Whether this was intentional or not, it does add another strategic layer to your approach. Obviously your best fighting chance at both is the default, but you may work better leaning one way or the other. The channels and empty segments give you a chance to recharge your bullets and rest your hand from the fast movements, which are good because I would definitely get cramp from too much fast movement in a row. And it's like a mini reward for the progress that you've made so far. However, you still have to concentrate. Just because it's simpler doesn't mean you can't miss things or get too keen and collide. It took me an hour and a half to beat, although this was in short bursts here and there. The visuals are neon, and with quick speed it can get a little trippy, so it's nice to give your eyes a rest between, though consistency can help to get used to the controls. It can take a good amount of time to even succeed once, though I'm sure someone with better reflexes and patience than me could complete it in less time, and the leaderboard at the end is a great motivator to encourage you to keep trying to get your name on there. I managed to get on, took a proud 59th place spot right under the Russian dude who slept with my, your and everyone else's mother. The other fun part of this leaderboard is you get to leave a heartfelt message to the world when you get a spot, which is great. Although whoever took the number 1 spot had to use hacks because that score cannot be real. The other core driver of motivation in this game is the music, which I really like. It's a bit electronic and a bit rock-like to get you fired up and fit the cyber theme, with good pace to keep you engaged and a change in tone between the segments. The grid beneath you is a great visual reference to help you line up with gaps and judge if you can sneak down the side of a block, but what I also like is that it kind of looks like frets and strings of a guitar, and there are some electronic riffs on the smoother segments that kinda sound like they could be from a guitar. Again, not sure if that's an intentional link, but it works well. If I had to offer some improvements, I would suggest a separate endless mode with a leaderboard of its own, a mix of segments with a rest every handful, kind of like the original game. I'd also suggest perhaps later in the game not having the pace quite as high, but having some blocks of a different colour that need 2 hits to destroy with the bullets, as that would force you to look in advance for a more optimal route. You would need lower pace for that overall to give the human brain time to process it and respond. In the current version, you can sometimes just tuck into one wall and just shoot anything that shows up in front of you. It's a simple, short but solid little game, not complex to understand or execute, and despite the theoretical 3-minute 40-second runtime, you can get some decent time out of it through beating your own score. I can't assume that you get exactly the same number of bullet collectibles in every run. If you do, then good show, though some would still be very hard to collect depending on where they spawn. If not, then obviously it's slightly biased that some runs will be possible to get higher scores off than others just by the nature of what appears and where. A small uncontrollable detail for the player, but to be honest, getting to the end is really the biggest challenge, and higher skills will mean more bullets able to collect and more left over at the end. From this it has good replayability, though I have to cross out getting the number 1 spot as a motivator to replay because I don't even think this score is possible, which sort of sucks. The music is good and it achieves its aim nicely, showing some tidy work here from a solo dev. Nice job! For all of this, I'll give SpeedRacer an 8 out of 10.